Today we're going to make some delicious sourdough bagels. My favorite kind of bagel are bagels that have a hard, chewy exterior and a soft interior. And there's a major bagel chain in North America that makes bagels exactly like that. And so when I was developing this recipe, that's really what I was shooting for. This is what they look like as the plain version of themselves, but this is a great base recipe to use for any kind of flavor combination. And so I'm going to show you how to make this. It's really quite easy. I will say though that one special ingredient you need for this recipe is called barley malt. And you can get barley malt at your local grocery store in most cases, but if you don't have it at your local grocery store, I'll put a link in the description of the video for how you can get it on Amazon. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's make some sourdough bagels. These bagels are an easy dough to work with. What you'll want to do is start out with 450 grams of bread flour or all-purpose flour. Once you've got the flour in your bowl or mixing bowl, if you're using a stand mixer, you'll want to add in 250 grams of water. I like to use warm water for this. If you're using a stand mixer, you don't have to do any pre-mixing, but for me, when I'm doing this by hand, I like to just give the water and flour a quick mix before I add anything else. The next thing we're going to add is 100 grams of stiff sourdough starter. If you don't have a stiff sourdough starter, they're super easy to make. You just branch them off of your existing regular sourdough starter. And I have a video walking you through how to do this. It's super simple. But we're going to take 100 grams of this. $62, $93, $101. Close enough. The next ingredient we're going to use is barley malt. Barley malt is used to add a nice texture to the bagels. It makes them nice and chewy. It adds a nice flavor profile, and it really helps speed up fermentation. We're going to add 10 grams of barley malt to our dough, and you can just drizzle it across the top like this. There we go. That's 10 grams. Instead of sugar, I'm going to be using honey for this dough. I'm going to use 12 grams of honey. However, if you don't have honey or don't like using honey, you can use 20 grams of sugar. So I'm going to add in 12 grams of honey. The next thing I need is olive oil. So not too much, but 10 grams of olive oil. And the final ingredient is salt. So I want 8 grams of salt. Now, it's going to look something like this. If you have a stand mixer, go ahead and turn that on and get this mixed into a nice dough consistency. If you're going to mix it by hand, I'll show you how to do that. What I like to do first is just kind of stick my hand in there and start mixing all the ingredients together. And I'm going to dump this out onto the cutting board in just a moment. So you'll want to make sure that if you're doing this by hand, that you have a workstation that you can dump this dough out onto to knead it. All right, so it's pretty roughly mixed together. So at this point, I'm going to just dump it on the cutting board. Don't add any additional flour to your cutting board. That will just change the formula a little bit. So I'm going to take a dough scraper and just grab all the extra stuff out of my bowl. All right, so that's, I got most of it. So I'm going to go ahead and start to knead this. And I like to just push it down with my hand, flip it over, push it down. As you do this more, it's going to get a little bit sticky And then that's when you just put the sticky part over those crumbs of flour that are on the cutting board to absorb those in. And when you're mixing by hand, it's important that you do a good job of kneading the dough together, because we did add quite a few ingredients there and we want them to all be evenly distributed. If you're using a stand mixer, it's much easier because that's going to do that kind of work for you. But as you can see, as I'm just going forward here, it's only been about 30 seconds, but the dough is coming together really nicely. It was once a shaggy ball of ingredients, and now it's forming a nice texture as it mixes together. Now, these are a pretty quick dough as far as fermentation time goes. We're going to let these rise in our bowl for about 4 hours, 4.5 hours maybe. The time can really depend based off your ambient temperature. What you want to look for is that the dough has essentially doubled in size. So now that this is kneaded together, it's going to form this into a nice tight dough ball and put this here. All right, so we're going to set this aside and let these ferment. For me, my house is about 70 degrees, and this takes about 4 hours for these to double in size. That could vary for you, though, based off your temperature. So keep an eye on the bowl, watch for it to double up, and then check back with this video. All right, so at this point in time, it's been about 3.5 hours, a little earlier than I had anticipated for this dough to ferment, but that's never a bad thing. If you're someone that likes to plan ahead and make bagels for breakfast, and you're making these on the day before, this would be a great time to put this bowl in your fridge to stall out the fermentation. It still has a little bit left to go, but we want that final fermentation to be during the proofing stage once we've formed these into bagels. So I'm going to take this dough out, and it's always a good idea to measure the total mass of the dough if you haven't already, because that's the number you're going to use to divide by 6 and determine what size the dough balls need to be. Add 0. And as anticipated, it's about 820, which is going to roughly measure out to approximately 130 to 135 grams for 6 dough balls. So what I'm going to do is set this ball of dough to the side, and I'm going to use a bench scraper. If you don't have a bench scraper, you can use a dough cutter or a knife, and you just want to make 6 130 to 135 gram dough balls. It's 142, 132. And then set this aside. Now, what you want to do is take one of the chunks of dough that you made and form it into a ball. And the best way to do that is to kind of take your 2 fingers like this and pinch it around the edges to form kind of a tight ball on the surface, and then this rough area on the bottom. And once you've done that, you can roll it around on your surface to get that to form into itself. Now, we're going to do that with all 6 of these. You don't need to put any flour down on your surface. This is a pretty easy dough to work with. It's not going to stick to anything. All right, so we have our 6 dough balls. Now, I'm going to move my cutting board over a little bit and bring over a baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper. This is what I'm going to proof my bagels on. So I'm going to take one of these dough balls, and I'm going to force my thumbs and fingers through the middle. And so I have this hole here. after I force my thumbs and fingers, and then put a finger from each hand in there and twirl it around like this so that the hole expands and gets bigger. Once it's about this size, you can put it on the baking sheet, and that's where you can kind of adjust it a little bit to get a more uniform shape. Now I'm just going to go through and just kind of make sure these are nice looking. We want these to get puffy. And as I had mentioned before, these aren't finished fermenting, but we want them to finish that while they're on this baking sheet. We want these to get nice and puffy. Let's let these sit for an hour or two until they get nice and puffed up, and then we'll go to that next step. All right, so these have had a chance to proof. It's been about an hour and a half. I would say the total time we've taken for this dough has been about 4.5 to 5 hours, which is not bad. That's pretty fast, all things considered, for sourdough. And the next step here is to boil these before we bake them. And it's a lot easier than it sounds. I have this pot here that I usually make pasta in, but I'm going to use it to boil my bagels, and it's about 4.5 liters. And I'm going to fill it about halfway and put 2 tablespoons of barley malt in here while it's coming to a boil. Once this has come to a boil, I'm going to drop some bagels in and boil them for about 45 seconds to 60 seconds per side, and then put them back on this baking sheet after. Once they've been boiled, I'm going to bake them at 425 degrees Fahrenheit or 220 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. And so it's a good idea while you're waiting for this water to boil to preheat your oven, because as soon as they're done boiling, we can go ahead and bake them. So let me give you a demo on how to boil these, and then we'll bake them and look at the final product together. All right, so the barley malt water is boiling now, and I'm going to loosen some of these bagels from the baking sheet and drop them in there. And I just want them to cook for about 45 seconds to a minute per side. And what boiling really does for these bagels is it helps create a nice texture and helps give you that chewy, kind of hardened outside and soft inside. So I'm going to flip these now that the timer has gone off, and then reset my timer. It's a little hard to do with the camera in the way, but there we go. All right, now I'm going to take these out, and you notice I have a cooling rack here. This is an optional step. You don't have to use one of these. You can put them straight on the baking sheet if you like, but I like to just get all the extra moisture off. And so I've set them there while these next ones are boiling, and then I'll put them back on the baking sheet once they're done. All right, so here they are. They've all had a chance to boil in the barley malt water. Now let's put these in the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit or 220 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. All right, so these just came out of the oven. They look great. They have that nice golden color that the barley malt gave them. They've got a chewy exterior and a soft inside. Proofed really well. And the nice thing about these bagels is they don't take very long to ferment, which is great compared to other sourdough things that we can make. So let's talk a little bit about inclusions. These are just plain bagels, and you might not want to make plain bagels. You might want to add a flavor to them. So there's a couple ways you can do that. If you're going to be adding things like blueberries or rosemary or other herbs and things of that nature, it makes the most sense to add those in when you're mixing the dough. So when you're adding in the barley malt and the salt and the olive oil, that's when you'd want to add in those ingredients for inclusion, and then you can knead them into your dough. If you're going to be adding things like toppings like seeds or cinnamon sugar or everything seasoning, things like that, Asiago cheese, things of that nature. The best place to do that, or best time to do that, is right after you boil your bagels. So once you remove them from being boiled, you'd want to immediately, instead of setting them on a baking sheet or cooling sheet to dry, you want to immediately put those in a little container of whatever ingredient you want to be on top. So, if you're doing everything bagel seasoning, you'd want to have like a little bowl of that available where you can just plop the wet bagel down onto that, flip it back over onto the baking sheet, and then just bake it the same you would before for 20 minutes. That's what I would recommend. This is a great base recipe for like a New York style bagel. So this would work great with any flavor inclusions you have. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'd also love to hear from you in the comments on how this recipe went for you. I've got 6 plain bagels here. I need some ideas on what to add to them. I'm going to go with cream cheese, I think, but I'd love to hear from you on what you add to your bagels and what flavor combinations you do for your dough or toppings. That's really interesting to me. So leave a comment below. Love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Happy baking, everyone.